All right, we'll call this meeting to order. And please keep in mind that this meeting is live streamed. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? None. Public hearings, none. Delegations, none. Question period? None.
Part one of the consent agenda, moved by Councillor Bob Yocum, second by Councillor Ray Dufour. Be it resolved that items A1 to F5 inclusive contained in part one consent agenda be adopted.
We'll go through the sections on in the A section. Any questions or comments? In the E sections, any questions or comments? In the F section, any questions or comments? Councillor Ken.
Just a question in the police board minutes. It mentions here the work that Arena Resource did on behalf of the police service was not covered by the retainer agreement. Was that in camera stuff, or was it something you could tell us?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
The work done on behalf of police services is not covered under the retainer agreement by with the Green Human
For a
Resources.
specific thing, I think, can you help us with that?
It was services beyond the existing agreement.
It was in camera.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, okay,
oh,
that's what I
oh.
want to know. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? G1.
Moved by Councillor Ron Dupuis, second by Councillor Ken Dupuis. Be it resolved that J&A Construction be awarded contract 1617 building upgrades at 100 Tuttle Street with a bid price of.
Point of order.
I think,
Yep,
Did we,
passed that
we
motion.
passed the
didn't
motion?
call out.
Oh,
Oh,
you did.
Pass motion.
I don't know. Okay, all in favor?
Of what?
Oh, the motion was read. Items A1 to F5 inclusive contained in part one consent agenda be adopted. All in favor? Carried. Moving right along.
Moved by Councillor Ron Dupuis, second by Councillor Ken Dupuis. Be it resolved that J&A Construction be awarded project 1617 building upgrades at 100 Tuttle Street with a bid price of $152,500 plus HST.
Questions or comments? Go ahead, Ron.
just a comment, Your Worship, it was nice, I guess we had spoke about that during budget deliberations, that by getting out tenders early, and our staff had followed through with that, that we would get better prices, and it looks like we have over what we saw last year.
Yes.
Your
Any
Worship.
other questions, Bob? Councilor
Yep,
Bob?
just to, because of my bad memory probably, I think I may have asked it earlier in the budget. What we're doing is, we're covering off everything that we discussed in 2016 this time, eh?
That's right.
The
And
full list,
that's right.
Okay.
And the boardroom estimations.
plus the extra in the boardroom, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Your Worship.
Okay, all in favor?
Your Worship.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yes. When dealing with items like this, Your Worship, I'd like to see a list that is prepared, you know, from the person that, yeah, from the estimators. I'd like to see that. Just to see why, for example, $77,000 off, you know, like there's a difference, it's a spread that far. I'd like to know why, whether it's quality or the items are.
Well, the quality, I'm sorry, the quality was checked out by Perry & Perry engineers,
Mhm.
and they okayed this gentleman to, or this company to go ahead and do that. So Perry & Perry have looked at it and said it's okay, but I'm wondering about the copy of the You want the prints or you want?
No, no,
So what
I just
happened-
want a list of all the items that's supposed to be done.
Okay, so what happens is, we had hired Perry Perry to do the tender document and the specifications for the job. So what they do on our behalf is they review the tenders that are submitted
Okay.
for, you know, to see if all the bids meet the specifications and, you know, make sure that they've met, if
Yes.
there's an addendums or anything. And then they look at the bid prices and, you know, say, well, this one's out because they missed this or not. So they were all complete, and we usually would recommend the lowest bid. If, of course, you want to see something else, I mean, that's fine.
Well, no, I just would like to see the list that was provided to these individuals.
Tender.
And like the tender documents themselves.
Okay.
And then I'd like to see how it was answered. The reason I'm saying that is because at 152,000 versus 200 and some other $77,000 more, I'm just wondering if they understood the wording, or if, you know, you understand what I'm saying?
So what happens too is, so the tender documents are, I think they're probably off now, but they were posted on our website, that's part of, plus we advertise, so, they come, there's a mandatory site visit, which there was, which everybody who picks up a copy of the tender or requests a copy of the
Right.
tender comes, and they do a walkthrough. So they did that with Chris Perry from Perry and Perry, and
Yes.
with the CBO, to verify that they understood all the, you know, the
Yeah,
requirements
okay.
of the job. So that is done too.
Yes, and that's well taken and understood. But I've seen projects like this go over many times.
For sure.
I mean, this is just an estimate. And when I see such a wide margin, it worries me, because right now money is tight and I'd like to see it spent, you know, and I know
For sure,
you're
yeah.
doing a job doing that
Yeah.
as well. But I would like to see the list at any rate. And if is there any way that we could cut back on that list a little bit, and perhaps maybe do the roofing that's leaking, and maybe outside areas that need to be done without without going too deep into it this year?
Councilor Bone.
Well, first I'd like the question
Oh.
answered.
Yeah, go on,
That's
sir.
up to council.
Okay.
Totally, we've been putting, you know.
So
we have
then
put
the
it
question is directed to you, sir.
Well, I think, can we talk to the CBO and see if we can get any information on the job list?
Well, we have that, if
We have
council wants
that.
it, for sure. As far as putting off parts of the job, it would, I mean, we've identified these as priorities for the last 2 years, and they, you know, it's really up to council what they want to do.
Yeah,
Your worship, I think everybody's forgetting something. We had a long discussion about this for the 2016 budget. We all knew at that time what was on the list and why, including the windows that leak like sieves. We can actually see them leak. And in 2016, we agreed to the scope of work. The only reason we didn't do, and budgeted for it. And so the money, there's no worries there on the budget on this one. So cutting back isn't going to save any money. It's just going to leave work to be done, which is not a good thing. Only reason we didn't do it in 2016 is because the quotes were so far out of line
Yeah.
at the time. So this time we've done it. The money is there. It's not going to affect the budget if we don't. The money's been budgeted, and there is a contingency included. We had a discussion this year's for the 2017 budget when we reviewed it again. So I don't think we can be talking about saving anything. That was the discussion we had already, and we agreed that the work had been prioritized, and what is going to be done is what needs to be done, in addition to the extra that turned up in the boardroom. So I really, it's just like, let's get the job done. Perry and Perry's here. Part of the problem for every community in this province is this huge infrastructure deficit they have, and part of the reason for that is because things kept getting put off for various reasons, and it just winds up costing more in the long run because of it. So this has no effect on the budget, no effect on the tax levy. It's done. Let's get the building fixed up and get it up to snuff.
I see where it would be more appropriate to do the whole thing rather than do it piecemeal,
Yes.
Yeah.
because that, to me, is not gonna be all right.
I do understand if something is open to get it fixed. I understand that, because why reopen it, right? On the other hand, everything affects the levy. And at this point, even though it's budgeted, it doesn't matter. The budget is still the budget. And by cutting back on certain things, we might be able to save, maybe save a hefty levy or anything of that nature. I'm hoping to go with a zero.
But how, I don't understand how we would save when we gotta spend that money anyway. Like we.
Well, we
have
spend
to
on something that's more-
We have to spend 152,000 plus tax to do the whole job. So how would we save money?
Well, that's an estimate, first of all, and there is a contingency built in.
That's a quote.
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna do.
I've seen many quotes,
Yeah.
and they very seldom stay within that. We know
Is there a
that.
contingency in this?
Yes, I believe there.
Yes.
Well, there was something built in earlier.
Part of it, yes.
It was
If I could speak to that, again, the 2,000, we actually allowed
184,000.
184,000. Again, we're going back to 2016. Any effect on the levy has already been had. The money, the job wasn't done in 2016. The funds were put to reserves. Doing the job this year, there's no effect on the levy. Saving the money's in reserves. It won't be, it'll be, and it's earmarked for building infrastructure upgrade, repair, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing to be done here. All delaying the work being done is actually going to wind up, it'll be surely cost more. You mobilize, your contractor will mobilize only once to do the work instead of 2 or 3 times. You get the work done all at one time with all these people here at one time, and it's done. And it's budgeted for, and there will be no effect on the levy, even if we said, let's not do it. It's you know, we've already affected the levy, that was last year, when we discussed doing the work, the scope of work, and agreed it needed to be done.
Your worship, when we first said yes, it was around a $70,000 project we were thinking it was going to be. This is back in, well, when Councillor Yocum was talking. This is what it was supposed to be. Now it's double that plus. I'm just thinking that there's a lot of money being spent, and a little bit of tightening up on the reins wouldn't hurt. That is all I have to say, though.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we budgeted last year, 2016, $184,000 for this
I
job.
already said that. Well,
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So we obviously knew it was more than a $70,000 job.
I didn't
I don't
agree
know
with
what
it
we're-
then, and I don't agree with it now.
Well,
So-
it's a little too late because you can't speak against a council decision in a meeting. You're required to support the council decisions that are made. Council made this decision in 2016. We're 2017. No matter what we do, we are not going to affect the levy, but we are going to get our building fixed up and remove some of the infrastructure deficit that has been hanging on. We know the couple has been, for example, because I remember it, has been leaking for a while. We all know that down by the HVAC system, or the air conditioners, wherever it is down there, there's a hole there that needs to be filled in and addressed. And we certainly know about the windows in the boardroom. So we can't go on.
Councillor Ron, you want to make a comment?
Well, Your
Good.
Worship, you had a talk with me one day in your office about a little bit of decorum at the table and putting our hand up to speak. I had my hand up. Since then, everybody's jumped in all over. I wondered, when are we gonna follow that policy?
Pretty
That you
soon.
spoke to me,
Fair enough.
because we certainly didn't have anything
Fair
I'm
tonight.
trying to follow it today, but it's.
I don't think so. Anyway, Your Worship, what I was going to say was similar to both. First of all, I think Councillor Dufour has the right to speak whether he agrees or disagrees with this motion. That's why we have debate on the motion. So to tell him he has to follow council's decorum and go along with it's not true. He certainly has the right to speak his mind. Secondly, we did put roughly $100,000 in the budget last year. It wasn't enough to do the project, so we added to it this year, which is what Councillor Yocum was saying. And I'm all in favor of zero budgets, but unfortunately, we can't let the building deteriorate either. We have window leaks and whatever going into the walls, and we have to rectify those, as well as a pagoda up on the roof, which is gonna cause a further problem later on. So I'm going to support the motion because we've done so in the budget, but that doesn't mean we can't speak on it.
Oh, no, I didn't say anything.
No, you didn't. It wasn't you.
All right, so, recommendation regarding the building upgrades, are we in favor? Carried. G2,
2, by Councillor Ken Duplessis, second by Councillor Ron Duplessis, Duplessis, be resolved that whereas capitalized terms not defined herein have the meaning subscribed to them in FIT contract version 3.1, whereas the province's FIT program encourages the construction and operation of ground mount solar PV generation projects, and whereas one or more projects may be subject to FIT contracts and may be constructed and operated in the town of Espanola, and whereas in accordance with the FIT rules version 3.1, the council of the local municipality had previously indicated by a resolution its support for projects in local municipality, and whereas council now indicates by resolution dated no earlier than, and this is the one, dated no earlier than March 28, 2017, council's continued support for the construction and operation of the projects anywhere suitable in the local municipality. And whereas pursuant to the FIT contract, a new resolution is received in respect to the projects in the local municipality, suppliers be recognized as fulfilling the requirements under section 2.4D7 of the FIT contract, which may result in suppliers being offered notice to proceed in accordance with the terms of their respective FIT contracts. Now therefore be it resolved that council of the town of Espanola supports the construction and operation of the projects where suitable in the town of Espanola. This resolution's sole purpose is to enable suppliers to achieve notice to proceed under their FIT contracts and may not be used for the purpose of any other form of municipal approval in relation to FIT contract or project for any other purpose. The resolution shall expire 12 months after its adoption by council.
Questions or comments?
I
Councilor Ron.
just have one comment. The last line there, well,
Yes.
we will expire in 12 months. Is this mandatory that we have to do it every 12 months, or is it just
It
because
is.
in case there changes?
It is for their FIT contracts, so for their contracts under the IESO, they have to have a current resolution. So there's two projects underway right now, the one on Panage, which they didn't, that got completed on time, where this one, it's gonna be connected within a couple of weeks, and it's just expired.
Okay.
So that's the purpose of this.
So I just wondering if we could make it longer and if we saw them as a
Can't.
problem. We can't.
Yeah.
Rather than do it a year.
We're just adopting a new one for
Yeah,
another year.
okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else questions or comments? All in favor? G3,
Moved by Councilor Ron Duplessis, second by Councilor Ken Duplessis, be it resolved that council for the town of Espanola hereby supports the resolution adopted by Council for Nimi regarding the costing measures Hydro One will put into place to replace the lost revenues from eliminating delivery charges to customers.
questions or comments? Councilor Ron.
I'd ask for this to be put on the agenda, your worship, because I agree with what Mimi is doing over there. The Hydro One and the government, I guess, has seen fit to eliminate delivery charges on certain sectors of society. Well, that money has to be recouped someplace. We still need the money. So Mimi, which is Manitoulin sector, they have people that are just as financially strapped, I think, as the people being eliminated. And to leave one group without having to pay delivery charges and recouping probably from the rest just doesn't seem fair when we have, I'm saying Mimi because the motion comes from them, but I'm sure in society, in every sector, whether it's our community or any community in Ontario, we have people that have a hard time with hydro.
Yes.
And that's why I'm supporting this motion, because I don't think it's right that certain people should be eliminated from paying those costs.
Right on. Anyone else? Councilor Bob.
Yes, Your Worship. Well, I agree with the intent of their obvious, the obvious intent of the motion here. Actually, I won't be able to support it because of the only one reason. When you get down to it, this is we're actually being asked to support. NIMI refers to equality for all, but we're actually being asked to support the removal of the delivery fees only for the residents of NIMI municipalities. And of course, this is something that should apply completely across the province. So I'm not in favor of supporting a resolution for one particular municipality when we know very well we must have residents that are suffering the exact same circumstances here. That's the only reason I wouldn't support it.
Councillor Ron.
Well, I'll support it for Mimi, and if we choose, we should write our own resolution out and put it out. But in the time being, Mimi took the first step and put out this resolution, and I hope it opens the eyes of some of the politicians in Toronto.
And we need to start somewhere too, I believe.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Carried. All right, there's correspondence for information only in H1. And the OAFC 2017 trade show invitation is Phenom correspondence regarding call for nominations. Conference and conventions, Phenom, Wednesday, May the 10th, and till Friday the 12th, 2017 at North Bay. And mayor and councilor reports. I'd like to make a report. I had an opportunity to go to Fred Wright's birthday. And I was quite pleasantly pleased with the gathering there and with Mr. Bright, and he celebrated 100 years. And I think that that's fantastic. I gave him a card and to give him our best wishes from council and mayor, and he's quite the boy. He's been in that nursing home for 17 years. So, and he looks pretty darn good. I mean, he looks fit and able, you know, and carry on a conversation. Councillor Bob.
No, I'm good, Your Worship, thanks.
Councillor Ken.
Wrong counselor, but nonetheless, I'm fine.
Don't you laugh, I'm coming to you.
What are you gonna call me?
Councillor Ron.
I had a few
This would be
calls
good.
today about potholes in the community, and I know you and I were speaking about it earlier, Worship. I was down talking to Mr. Parker, and I mean, it's an ongoing process with the thaw, I guess, and freezing at night and whatever, that they have a regular routine where we certainly see it on Highway 6, but we see it on some of the side streets, and they're following the criteria we've set out with the inspections on a weekly basis, and so many hours from that time to repair and all the rest. But I reiterated that to some of the residents that called me today. The other thing I thought I'd hear from Bob tonight was it's spring and things are starting to show up.
Not yet.
But I'll be happy to tell you, Mr. Yoakum, there was actually a charge late today.
I'm not allowed-
Unfortunately, I think the person that has to pay it was one of the least financially able to, but there is a charge, and
I'm sorry for
I
that.
guess, yeah, I know,
Everybody knows the rules.
I know, and so did the individuals.
You were gonna hear about it next week because the snow's not melting.
Yeah. But anyway, that's all I have. Your Worship.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ken.
No, thanks.
No thanks. Wally. All right, corporate services meeting, is that one canceled, corporate services?
As far as we know, possibly.
Whether it will be rescheduled.
Okay, so it's not determined. Regular meeting of council April the 11th at 7:30, and then we'll see where that goes for the corporate services. This regular meeting of council is hereby adjourned. All in favor? Carried.